everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin', and back here in my craft room. We're going to have fun today. We're going to work with this new stamp set. This is in our online exclusives, which means you will not find this in any of our publications, only on my online store. So when you go and visit my website, so if you click on the link that's located right below this video, and it takes you to my webpage, where it says search, type in online exclusives and it will pop up everything that we have that are under the umbrella of online exclusives. Now, some of the products that were in previous catalogs have been moved over to online exclusives, and they'll be there for some time. They usually keep them there until they sell out. So if you see something you like, grab it. But the ones that are brought in as online exclusives seem to have some staying power. They hang around for a while unless they sell out and then they get them back in. But what we're going to do today, we're going to showcase this particular stamp and die along with the designer series paper. Now, most of the paper, this is one of the ones that has the smaller print. Most of them have a large, beautiful, bold print like that. And all of these papers, look at the dimes, beautiful, large, beautiful flowers. The back side of it has a more muted, smaller pattern, but then you got this beautiful side here, and that's the other side of that one. You also have the sheet, and everybody loves these because they make a card front all by themselves. You can cut this in half and then cut your pieces, and you got almost like a pot of flowers for a card. There's the back side of that. And you get 2 sheets of each one of these double-sided papers. Beautiful pack of paper. And I'm going to show you how we're going to incorporate this paper in with our card that we're going to make today. Now, I played around with this fold sometime back, and I kind of stuck it to the side. And this was just some retired paper and some things that I used here. But it is called a shadow box card. So when you open it, you have a beautiful shadow box. See what I mean? Isn't that beautiful? So I played around with it a little bit more today, and let me show you what I did. I used that beautiful Zinnia paper. I used the stamp set. This is one of the sentiments, and this is what we have. Is that not gorgeous? And I put a nice little thank you here because this makes just the perfect thank you card. Words fail to express my gratitude. Thank you so much. We're going to use this on the inside of the one that we're going to do today. But we're going to remake this card, but we're going to use some different colors and show you how pretty it can be just by changing up a few things. So let me show you my color palette first. I am going to use a piece of Blackberry Bliss, and I'm using that same pattern paper, which look how pretty that's going to look on that. Isn't that gorgeous? We're also going to use that green. We're going to use that part of the green and this other piece. And I've got 2 small strips, and I'll give you all these measurements as we go. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and cut our card base. Now, to cut our card base, you will need a full sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 11. We're going to put it in on our 8.5-inch side. And I'm going to line it up to 4 1/4. So basically, we're just going to cut this piece of cardstock in half on the long way, and then we're going to turn it, and we got to let our arm out because we got to bring this out. And we love this because you can really stretch this arm out quite a bit. We need to bring it out to 10 3/4. So basically, we're taking a 1/4 inch off of this 11-inch cardstock. So that is the basis of our card, but we do need one more piece that's 4 1/2. So we already have 4 1/4 right here, and we need to bring it to 5 1/2. So 4 1/4 about 5 1/2. So I'm going to line it up right here, and I'm going to slice that. And then you have this piece left over. So this is going to be the basis of our card. Now, I'm going to bring out my scoreboard because I got a score in 4 different places. So in order to do that, I think it's better to do your scoring on your scoreboard. So I'm going to lay it in all the way up to this top left-hand corner, and we need to score at a 1/2 inch. Sometimes it might be tight to get up in there, but I like to just hold it with my thumb like that and do that score. Then we're going to do 4 3/4. So right 1/4 inch before we get to 5, 4 3/4. Then we're going to score at 6. And then we're going to score all the way over at 10 1/4. So you can see that gives you a 1/2 inch here, a 1/2 inch here, and then you have that 1 inch or 1 1/4 inch in the middle. So those are your score lines. We can go ahead and move that out of our way. And all you want to do is just grab your bone folder, because we are going to score and burnish each of these score lines. Anytime you're dealing with anything that is a 3D project, you want to make sure you're giving your score lines a really good crease. And as you're creasing, make sure everything squares up so it's not, kind of cattywampus. So just make sure that everything lines up nice and straight. Cattywampus, however you want to say it. I know that's a southern thing, but we're just going to continue to score. If you notice, I'm scoring them all in the same direction. And that's what we need to do with these, because this is going to come together like this to form our, I got some type of ruckus going on in front of my house. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, that's going to form our card. Before we go any further, we're going to need to attach this piece to this piece. And all we're going to do is attach it like this. Now, I found that using double-sided tape was my best friend. So I'm going to grab, and I can't find my parent tape, but I have some other two-sided tape, and I'm just grabbing it for now. And I'm going to lay a piece of tape on here, just like that, and tear it. And I'm going to do the same thing down on this end. We're not going to put this one down yet, but it's good to go ahead and have your tape in place. We got a little bit of fancy footwork to do before we actually start putting this together. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay my tape in place. Something like that. And I'm just going to use my finger to tear that off. That's the good thing about two-sided tape. It tears real easy. And then I'm going to burnish that, just so that when I get ready to pull it off, I won't have any tugging or pulling. It will be adhered really well. So now what we need to do is we need to cut, make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, on the piece right here, we're going to lay down a piece of designer series paper. And I'm going to lay down one of these pieces. I think this one. So these are, I cut 4 of these from designer series paper, and I cut 2 on this pattern, and I cut 2 in this pattern, but I'm going to use one side and then the other side. And you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. But for right now, I'm going to put this one down right here on what will be my inside front. What I'm talking about is it will be this piece right here. It will be, I'm doing the wrong one. It will be this one. I'll get it right in a minute. So we want this one to go down because this is going to be a window that we're going to cut out. So this is the piece we're going to actually be cutting. So let's lay this down. And you can decide it's totally up to you which paper you want where, but kind of think about it before you cut it and make sure you're getting the piece that you want. So I'm just going to grab my glue gun, and I'm looking to make sure I got that going in the right direction. And I'm going to put some glue, and I like to swirl my glue in circles. I like that because I'll use a very thin amount, and I want to make sure that that glue gets pressed out so it's a nice coverage. And you know what? I shouldn't have done that. Okay, let's regroup. Um, I'm going to lay that one there. When you're putting this one down, don't put glue all over it. Just go around the outside edges, and we'll worry about that other piece in a minute. Just go around the outside edges. There's a reason for this, and I wasn't thinking through because we're going to cut that center out, and I want both pieces to come out. So I'm going to sit this down about like this. Get it nice and even, and then give it a press. And one thing you can do when you're using liquid glue so you don't show the rumples of glue under it, is just take your bone folder and just use it as an iron and kind of iron that glue out. Now we're ready to cut our window. So I am going to grab my stylus shaped dies, and I'm going to grab the largest circle die. This one right here. I am going to pull off one of my little Post-it flags, and I want to center this just right in the middle, something like that. And I'm looking to see if I got the same amount on both sides, and that looks pretty good. And now we're going to run this through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So let's pull that up. And I'm going to open it, and we'll move it like midway on my desk so that we can have that exactly where we need it. I am going to need to cut another piece of, I might have it already. I think I do. I don't think I'm going to have to cut. I think I already had another piece cut. So we're good with that. I'm going to go ahead and put in my plates. And I have my number 1 plate, a number 2 plate, a number 3 plate. Then I'm going to lay in my piece with the die and the cut side facing down. And I'm going to lay my cover plate over top of that, just like that. And then I'm going to run it through. We can take that off. And if we are successful, it cut out perfectly. And by not putting glue in the middle, now I have these 2 pieces that I can use inside my card. And we will use this one and this one. And you'll see how I'm going to use that in just a minute. So let's put my dies back where they belong. Right, and let's move that out of our way. We'll need this again in a few minutes, but for right now, move it. And so now what we want to do is turn this over, and in here is where we're going to put that other paper. So this piece of paper is going to go inside here. And it doesn't matter which way you want it to go. It's your preference. If you're using paper that has a directional, pay attention to that. This paper is great because it really doesn't. I think you could go either way with it, and it would be beautiful no matter which way you did it. So we are going to do that there. So again, I'm going to take my glue. And this one doesn't matter if we put glue in the middle. So we're going to put glue all over that one and lay it right inside. Get your borders nice and even. Like that. Give that a press. And again, I'm going to iron it out. Let's give it a good burnish. And now you can see how our shadow box is coming together. So what I want to do for the inside, I'm going to put this piece down like that. And I want it to be kind of in the middle. But before we get started with that, let's bring this piece of Blackberry Bliss back over. And we are going to adhere this to here. And this piece is going to adhere to here. So basically these two pieces are going to come together and both of them are going to attach to this piece. The easiest way to do that is to do it one at a time. So I'm going to pull back just a tiny place like that. This will allow me to get this set down where I want it. And where do I want it? I want it right to that score line. You do not want to go over that score line, and you want to make sure that it's all the way to the end. So the placement is very important. So you want to make sure you get that lined up. So once I get that lined on that corner, then I can bring this down and grab that piece of tape, pull it across, and then I can pretty much line this up pretty perfect. Now, if this piece hangs over a little bit, it's no big deal. We can trim that off. Just like that. Now, to do this piece, all we have to do is bring this piece over to here, just like that. So we're going to pull this tape off, like that. Holding that down, we're going to bring this piece down and line it up like that. And then when you tilt that up, you're going to have this beautiful little window. And that is the basis of the card. Now, we do need to take our strips. Remember, I told you to cut those two, what did I do with them? Here they are. I told you we would need two of these that are cut at 1 inch by 4 inches. And I do have two. One's going to go up here to decorate that top. The other one is going to go inside here to camouflage the seam. So let's go ahead and slide that one in. So I'm going to use this one. This one's a little more pretty, and since it's going to be on the top, I'm going to use it there. This one I'm going to put inside because it's just basically covering up our workings. So slide it in, bring it over, make sure everything lines up nice and even. And then just take your finger and give that a press. And that's in. Now to do this front piece, I'm just going to close the card up like this. And you see how that is hanging off just a tiny bit? This is where your long scissors, oops, that's not my long ones. The long ones are over here. This is where these come in so handy because we can very easily trim this off just like this. Just put that blade right there and trim that just a little bit. And then everything squares up and everything looks beautiful. So I'm going to take this piece and glue it down right about there. And all I'm doing is just centering up into that this rectangle area. And we had one more piece of this, and this is going to go, and you can decide which way you want it to go. Totally up to you. I think I like it like that. So I'm going to put glue on this, just like we did. This is such an easy card to make. The hardest part is just getting it, getting the pieces lined up. Once you do that, the rest of this card goes together really easy. And I'm going to have a diagram for the cutting on the PDF tutorial, which that should make everything really easy for you if you wanted to make this card. And that's what I like to do. I like to make it easy so that you can follow the directions if you like. Now, I have a piece of the Blackberry Bliss. Remember the two pieces we cut out? I'm going to put one piece of that on the front. This other one is going to go inside the card, and then we have this piece that's going to go right here. So you can see how we've got everything covered, and this piece is going to go inside the window, and we're going to do some stamping. In fact, I've already done the stamping, so all we have to do is a little coloring, and then we can put this card together. So let me bring over the pieces that I stamped. I have 4 of the leaves, and I got these from the Simply Zinnia. I did one of the flowers, and 4 sets of the leaves. So I've got some colors here that we're going to use. And what I pulled out was a mossy meadow. I have granny apple green. I have a daffodil delight in the light. And I have a melon mambo and berry burst. So I'm going to do the zinnia first, and I'm going to do it in the berry burst. And I'm going to start out with my dark color first. And what I want to do is I want to flick. Everywhere there's little lines, I'm going to do this little flicking motion. Just to put down a little color. I'm going to go to that second set of petals, and I'm going to flick color there too. And I'm going to do that all the way down throughout my zinnia. Sometimes just flicking a little bit of color on those lines are all that we need. So once you get that on, then I'm going to take my light berry burst, and I'm going to come back in and I'm going to use that the brush tip, and I am going to come back in and just color. And this is going to help blend those colors. Oops, I went outside the line. That does happen. That's why we have this color lifter. And I'm going to come in with that really quick and see if we can clean that up. This is almost like an eraser. And it does leave a little wet spot there, but it will dissipate. So I need to be a little careful, especially when I get around the edges. So we pretty much got our zinnia colored, and isn't that gorgeous? I love the way the colors look. I think it's beautiful. Now I'm going to go in on the inside, and I'm just going to touch a little color to my inside of my flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush tip, and I'm just going to come in and touch a little yellow all inside this little middle. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to take the melon mambo, and this is the light melon mambo, and I'm going to hit on the yellow that looks like stars. Just tap a little bit of color in there just to make it look like it's a little orange, and that is beautiful. So now I want to do my leaves, and I'm going to do those. I want to do 2 of them in Granny Apple and 2 in the Mossy Meadow. So let's make sure this is my light Mossy Meadow. This is my dark. I'm going to start out with the dark, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do my little flicking. Just like that. I'm going to come down on that stem just a tiny bit. And let's do this one. And so I'm going to come in now with my eraser, and I'm going to clean that up a little bit right there. If you buy the alcohol markers, I would highly suggest to get the color lifter. It will make you happy. Plus, if you needed to lighten up, say if I wanted this petal to be a little bit lighter right there, I just come in just ever so often and put in a little bit of lightness. And as that dries, that will dry a little lighter, and it will give a lot more dimension to your flower. So watch as this dries, you'll see the color will lift and you'll get almost like another shade of color in there. So it's always nice to have one of those. They serve two purposes. So now the other two leaves I'm going to do in the granny apple green. This one I'm going to be a little bit more careful, and I'm going to use the bullet tip. I'm going to go in with the dark first. This one's dark. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do the bullet tip this time. And I'm going to like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. You have a little more control when you use the bullet tip. Then I'm coming with the white. And I think I'll do the bullet tip with it as well. And I'm just going to color. Okay, that was simple and easy, and we don't have to clean any of those up because they are perfect. So now we just need to die cut. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut up like this. And then I'm going to cut these apart so we can put them in the die cut machine. I'll cut that one off. We can cut two of these at a time. So let's go ahead and bring out our machine. Grab my sand plates again. And then of course, we're going to need some dies. So we are going to need the leaf die, and we're going to need the one that cuts out the stamped zinnia. So let's go ahead and get this positioned. And I usually can do better if I hold it up and just kind of wiggle it until I see that it's in place. And then I like to use my Post-it flags. These work so good for me. And then we're also going to put the leaf down. Let's put that one down right there. Give it a little tape, and then we'll shoot that through. And then we have to go back with our leaf and cut it 3 more times. All right, we've got our elements are all cut. So now we are ready to put this together. Oh, we do have one more thing to cut. I should have done it while I had everything up here. We'll go back. I went ahead and stamped out my 2 sentiments that I want to use. And I'm going to use my Nested Essential dies next to the smallest for this one. And then I'm going to use the Thoughtful Expressions, and I'm going to use the next to the smallest label die and to cut this out. You know what? I think we can use the smaller one on that one. Let's see. I used this one because it worked with the sentiment that I used, but yeah, we can use the small one. And we're ready to pull these off. And this off. And now we can bring our card back over and we are ready to decorate. So I'm going to lay this like that. I want my two lighter green pieces. I'm saving that for the front. I want the darker green inside because it looks like it will show better on the lighter green paper. So I want it like here. Let's do one there and one like that. That looks really good. So all I'm going to do is flip my flower over and I'm going to hook my leaves to the flower using a little bit of glue and just set it down in it and a little bit right there. And set that down in it. And then we can put the entire flower, however you want to, on there. And I kind of like it like that. So I'm going to pop that whole thing up with some dimensionals. So I'm going to put a dimensional there and there. And then I'm going to put a couple here in the middle of my flower. And now I'm making sure that I've got that exactly where I want it. I'm going to set that down on there. And now this is ready to slide in. And all I'm going to do is put some regular glue on it. And I want it to sit so that you can see it from inside of the circle that's right here. So I want it to be about like that. So what I'm going to do is take this out and I'm going to turn it over and put glue all over the back of it. And then I'm going to slide this in and I'm looking up into my camera to see if that is about where I want it. And that looks pretty good right there. Yep, I think that's good. So then I'm going to give it a good press. Now I can close that. We still have one more thing. We're going to put this piece of paper right here. Let's go ahead and do that while we're still working on the inside. So this piece with the diagonal, and even though this is the same piece of paper, it looks different because I'm using the other side of it, but the colors all coordinate because that's one of the wonderful things about Stampin' Up. You never, ever have to worry about color coordination because everything always matches. That is such a wonderful thing. So get that on there like this. And now this right here can go in here. Thanks so much. And I'm going to put that down with just some regular glue. And yeah, I did stamp on the back and I didn't like it. So I turned it over. Great thing about having two sides to your paper. If you mess up one side, you can always turn it over and stamp on the other. So I'm going to put that right about there in the center. Give it a press. Then I'm going to close this down and I am going to use some of my little, I call them my bones of my stamping dimensionals. I save these. And what I do is I pull these off and I run them across when I need something in the middle like that. And that's all I need is a piece across the middle and maybe two other ones. So I'm going to put that all the way across the middle like that. It is hanging off just a hair. Let's lift that just a bit. I'm going to take my scissors and just snip that. And then I'm going to pull that off. And I'm going to use a couple of regular dimensionals, one here and one here, just to kind of stabilize it. And then I want to put this right across, oh, forgot my piece. This piece of Blackberry Bliss. That was that other circle. Remember that we cut out when we first started our flower or our card. I'm going to use that to put down right there in the center. And this just kind of gives us a nice dark backdrop to put that sentimental on. So I am going to lay this right here in the middle. I'm just eyeball centering. Looks pretty good. Now I can take this piece and center it up on my circle. Like that. Then I got these two beautiful leaves, and I'm going to use my fingers and just kind of turn them a little bit like that. And I'm going to put some glue underneath right there. And I'm going to stick one right here. And I'm going to do the same with this other one. I'm just going to use the heat from my fingers and just curl my leaves. You can do it with your bone folder or whatever, but I find that my fingers are usually some of my best tools. So that works for me. And I'm going to place this right here. That little bit of greenery sticking up just really adds to the beauty of this card. Now I'm going to show you the two cards that I made using the same paper, and only thing I changed up was the color of the card base. And you can see there's quite a stark difference in the two cards just from using the different, everything else is identical. I didn't change anything other than I did change the thank you. And I pulled this thank you directly from the stamp set, where this one I pulled from the Irresistible Blooms. And I didn't want to list another stamp set. So when I saw that one, I thought this will work really well. So isn't that pretty? Don't you love the way this turned out? I think they're both just beautiful cards. They look different, but yet they're identical. I love the way these turned out. I hope you did. If you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments below. Let me know which color you like the best. I'm kind of tending toward the Melon Mambo, but I love pink. Not to take away from the Blackberry Bliss, I think it's gorgeous. It's very dark. This is much more elegant looking, I think, but I really love them both. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on the shadow box card, and let me know if you're going to make it. If you're interested in any of the products that you saw me use, just click on the online link below this video or go to my tutorial, and you can get that on my blog. Click on the blog link below the video, and it will take you there where you can shop with me. You can see pictures of the cards inside and out. You can get the PDF tutorial with all the dimensions, cutting guide, and everything. God bless and keep you, and thanks again so much. As I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Savior. He is worthy. Until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.